Good morning guys, hello and welcome back to another episode. Didn't get much sleep yet, barely slept 7 hours last night. Was out with some friends, but today the plan is to go out for hiking a little bit, trying to do something offbeat. I was thinking of going to Nara and play with the deer in the Nara Deer Park, but then I've done it already and everybody does that, so that didn't appeal me too much. So thinking of going to a smaller town and hike a small mountain. I think the max elevation is at 500 meters, so it's not too bad. And then there would be shrines and nice nature to go through. So let's see what we find, and it should be a nice little tiny town. So we'll spend a couple of hours hiking and then we'll come back. So let's get started. So I'm actually going northbound from Kyoto, and this is served by a different train line setup. So I can't really go to the JR station that's close to my place. So I'm going across it's the same river where I was in the previous episode, the Kamo River. So if you cross that, you get access to Keihan Line. So I'll go with the Keihan Line first and then switch to another local line, and then that should bring me to the starting point of the trail. And from there we start hiking. It should be a 7 odd kilometers, couple of hours. So nice little half day kind of trip. Really excited to see what the scene looks like, the environment and nature and stuff. This looks like one of the old Japanese tea houses, I suppose. There's a nice little garden up front, and then there is a traditional kind of architecture for the building. And I guess you will probably be seated on the floor if you go inside, or one of those low-lying tables, not the Western dining table chair kind of setup. So made it to Kibuneguchi, and that's the Kibune River behind me. It's gonna be a really fun hike because it's gonna be along the river most of the time, and then nature and stuff. And it took me about an hour to get here, and let's get the hike started to enjoy the nice views. It's nice and sunny, but it was a little bit chilly in the morning, so I put on the jacket, but we'll see how the weather looks like from here. And as far as I understood, Kibune, basically this is dedicated to the daughter of goddess of water. And Kibune basically means yellow boat, which was the boat that she took to go upstream the water, and then that's how she arrived where the Kibune shrine is. So that's my understanding of the name and history of this place. Maybe they have more board signs by the shrine so we can understand more. Apparently there are some bear here as well, but Japan usually is quite safe. Wow, look at the size of these huge trees going all the way up. They're like so symmetrical and straight. By the way, right at the train station I saw there is also like a minibus going up and down, but I instead prefer to walk. It's a 27-minute walk. But if you want, you could also take a minibus in case you have some trouble walking or you're short of time or something like that. But it's gonna be a walk along the river, so I prefer to walk and enjoy the nice breeze and the sound of nature. It's really pleasing. The second train that I took on the Eizen Line, that was a pretty mini train. It was just 2 cars, and I think in a couple of stations just before this one there were a lot of students, so it was fully packed, and then suddenly it became quite empty, and I seem to be the only foreigner on the train. So I'm guessing this is one of these offbeat locations where not many people come, but I'm trying to go closer to the trail and see what kind of crowd I find there. Are there foreigners or mostly locals? It would be epic to see if this is only a local kind of popular area where only locals visit, basically. That's what I mean. So that would be nice, and then that would be truly an offbeat location. Let's see how it goes. So made it to the Kibune Jinja entrance. This Torii gate marks the start of the hike. A bunch of stairs after, so we start climbing. A lot of people want to take pictures here, so it was a bit difficult to come up with an empty spot, but finally managed it somehow. So let's start hiking now. So if you've been to any shrine in Japan, you would have seen this kind of Chozuya water basin. And the fact behind this basin is that you're supposed to cleanse yourself when you enter into the temple. So you first cleanse your left hand and the right hand and your mouth, and then you throw the water in the base. And this is like fresh sacred water. And also you could grab some fortune kind of papers. So there's normally shops. So there's one there as well. So at the entrance of the shrine, and then you can just dip it in the water and it reveals the fortune. Fortune would be in Japanese, so I have no idea what it says. And then there are these 2 horses here, the black one and the white one. So the idea was the aristocrats back in the days used to offer the black one when they wanted their rains, and the white one when they wanted clear weathers. But then it got really expensive at some point, so they started making a statue and paintings instead of a real horse. Yeah, so this is the fortune paper. You put in the water, the words appear, and then you can translate it because it's gonna be in Japanese. So this is the sacred water stream. And then you tie the wish over there. That was such a cool experience. I don't know if you were able to notice, but I took a very short clip from the shrine because there's a private prayer going on and the priest was doing the ceremony. So I didn't want to block anyone. And the people on the outside were doing their own prayers. So it was a very peaceful environment, and normally I don't like to vlog too much at a place of worship, not to disturb anyone or obstruct anyone doing their own practice. So that was the main shrine, the Kibune shrine, where the god enshrined there is the god who rules the water at the mountain top. Then there is the Okunomiya shrine, which is the inner shrine, which is where I'm headed further up the hill this way. This is the god that rules the water at the bottom of the valley. And they are both like gods of water, but they have different roles. So the idea now is to, this is still like the Kibune kind of shrine, Jinja area. So explore all of this first before starting the through hike all the way to the next town. And this is all like by the river Kibune. So it's a really nice peaceful view. You can probably hear the sound of water in the backdrop as well. Looks like I've made it, but look at the size of this giant tree first. Crazy. Looks to be a spiritual tree because of this decoration around. So this is the inner shrine campus. That's the shrine behind me, and this torii where I just came from is the entrance for the inner shrine. So up until year 1000s, mid 1000s, this was the actual shrine, but then it got destroyed by the flood. So this is now the inner shrine, and then the main shrine was the one where we visited just a while ago. So this is also nice. So this is the shrine, I think, and this bell, I'll tell you about it in just a second. I'll move aside quickly. But this is the shrine, what we can see from here. So yeah, about the bell, basically in the Indian culture too, we have this bell that we ring once when you enter. It's kind of, think of it like waking the gods or informing them that you're there to pray. You never ring it on the way out. And I saw some people when they were praying, they were doing the same thing here. In the Buddhist culture here in Japan, I know that they clap twice also, and then they ring this bell while they're praying. So that's as much as I know about. I'm just kind of learning by observing the people. So I kind of feel that there's a similarity also, because this is extended from Hinduism, so there's a lot of similarity that way. But yeah, that's the inner shrine. And also, yeah, one more thing about the way they make the wishes here. So you might have known that in Europe sometimes you have the wishing well where you toss a coin and make a wish, or there are other different ways of making a wish. But in Japan, that's the normal way of making a wish. So you write your whatever you want to achieve, and then you hang it here. So in most of the temples they have that. And in this one they have the iconic horse pair, the black and the white one. And then there is this maple leaf kind of also the logo that I saw. So maybe this is good in the autumn season. Perhaps they have a lot of maple trees here. It's a pretty nice place. And there is some info about the inner sanctum. And from what I can tell, the holy yellow boat that I was telling you about is apparently enshrined in these rocks here. So that's why this is also this like symbolic of spiritual value. There is that. And then behind the board sign there is actually a well that is concealed. So if you would have noticed when I was telling you about the wishes that people make, there's also another symbol of the dragon here. So that well basically conceals the dragon from other people, like especially those who have ill intentions. This one, because this dragon kind of punishes those kind of people. So just to make it a safe haven, they've concealed that. So this is where it is, right behind the bold sign that I was just showing a while ago. Interesting cultural heritage here. And this, I'm coming here for the very first time. So obviously last time when I was in Kyoto, I did the typical touristy thing. So I'm so glad I chose this one this time. And yeah, as I mentioned, even still I see a couple of Japanese people, but barely any foreigners. I don't remember seeing any actually. Maybe one girl from China, but that's about it. So it's a very nice experience. I guess there is another part of the shrine. Maybe I'll try to look for that. And after that we continue the through hike. Let's see how it goes. So I made it all the way back to this torii. I did down to where we started. And if you remember the junction where I showed you two board signs, so we'll go there, and from there we peel off for the hiking trail. Okay, so this board basically says the Kibune station is 2 kilometers that way, and the Jinja area is 100 meters that way. And this area is where I'm going, which is the west gate of the Kurama-dera. So if you take the Eizen Line, basically Kurama is the last train station of the line. So I stopped at the penultimate station and Kibuneguchi station. And from here I first saw this shrine, and then with this gate the entry fees is 300 yen for the maintenance of the hiking trail, and it's about a 90 minutes hike. So you can go hiking to the next town, another small town, Kurama, and that's where I'm going to finish. So after the shrine I'll probably end up at some point close to the Kurama station, and from there I can start to go back. And here also I think I took 1 hour to get here, and about 90 odd minutes I spent around just chilling, and the sound of flowing water was quite nice, so I took it very easy, no rush today. And then I guess this hiking trail is another 90 odd minutes, so let's see how it goes. And first let's pay the entry fees and get entrance. Okay, so done with the entry ticket and got myself a map. This is the start of the trail, so let's go up a little bit, find a place for me to be able to explain the map and the details, because the guy explained it to me in Japanese so I can translate. Okay, so we are here at point 41. So this is where I paid the entrance fees. We go all the way this way, and actually there's more. Go this way, and at around 1 and 5 is where I finish in the next town, Kurama-dera. And he said it will take 1 jikan han, which is 1.5 hours, so 90 minutes. I was right about that. So we're hiking Mount Kurama today. These are all the checkpoints, so it's nice to have a map. And the elevation gain is not so much, it's about 300 odd meters or so. It's pretty cool. You can see there's gonna be some nice jinjas and pagodas along the way, so really excited. Let's get the hike going. It's 12:15 now. Let's see when we reach the final destination. One thing I really like about hiking in Japan, which I just went through again with a few people, is how all the hikers wish each other konnichiwa or good morning, konbanwa or something, evening, or just like gambare, so best wishes, or you got the energy, you can pull this off. It's so uplifting and positive energy for the hike. Konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. And not only that, as you saw, the entire family wished me, but also like the hikes, no matter how hard they are, even the elderly people, they use a walking stick or whatever, but they go hiking. It's amazing. And we are starting with a lot of steps, so luckily the step size is not too much, so it's a mild climb, but then the climb goes all the way up. This is interesting. Looks like they have stapled the wood blocks, and then there's also like these rivets deep in the ground so that it doesn't move. And in some places they've also put up the railing for extra safety. This is the Japanese hiking trails that I remember. And after all, you're paying a kind of maintenance fee of 300 yen, so makes sense for you to get these facilities. This temple is the Maoden temple of the god of the mountains, and people praying here. And as far as I understand, this is very close to the top, so you can come here and take a little bit of a break. So the Nishimon West Gate is about half a kilometer away, and the main shrine is about a kilometer or so away from here, so we're making good time. Got here in about 15-20 minutes, so not so bad. Just gonna take a breather here and then continue onwards. The route is very obvious, it's just right here next to the shrine. Does anybody know why the root of these trees, they start growing over the surface like this? I mean, I don't suppose this is very good for the ankle while hiking, and you get really tired because of this. And if it rains, it might even get slippery. But I've seen this in numerous hiking trails with nature paths. So if this is like a natural trail with lots of trees around, like is the case here, then the roots, they start to grow over the trail here this way. And I never really understood, like, why don't they grow into the ground and instead start going this way? If anybody understands the science behind it, feel free to comment down below. So as you saw, I've already reached the highest point, and now there was this local group with a Japanese tour guide. She was guiding them, an old woman, and then I asked her in Japanese where the Kurama-dera Temple is, and she mentioned that you have to go down these steps all the way and you'll get there. So it seems like I've already reached the summit and now it's going downhill, so should be easy. But I'm kind of standing at the edge of a cliff and looking at the mountains, and there seems to be a town over there, so probably it's not so visible because it's overexposed. But yeah, it's a really nice and peaceful place here, and yeah, I was right, it's mostly Japanese people coming here and just enjoying the peace and quiet. So it's a really nice experience, and they were surprised to see me and hear me speak Japanese and understand that I'm here for the first time. So they were asking how the experience has been, and so it's a really nice experience, exactly the way I like it. And before, when I was in Japan, I used to do a lot of hiking, and this is a nice reminiscent of the good old days, doing it again. It's pretty cool. So the lanterns have appeared again, so I'm guessing I'm very close to the Kurama-dera Temple. I'm just curious to see where these stairs lead, like going upstairs. Right, I remember reading about this bell. So basically you make a wish and then you ring the bell very, very softly for your wishes to come true. This is nice. But, oh yeah, there's a building down there. Maybe that's the temple where I was trying to go to. Such a cool experience. The gong is very soothing, it's not a very harsh noise. I wonder if you can still hear the vibrations, it's still vibrating. And then there is a bowl underneath, I guess it amplifies the vibrations. Super cool experience. So it's about 1:20 p.m. and we have made it to the Kurama-dera, the top of the mountain, let's say, the one we were trying to hike. And going down from here is very straightforward. Not gonna take more than half an hour, I suppose. Because yeah, that's what they said. So 1時間ぐらい, 1時間半, so 90 minutes including all the way to the final stop. That's what I asked them. Oh, it was about right. I was maintaining quite a good pace. So far, 12,500 odd steps, so it's pretty good. The views from up here are really nice, and I think that's the main temple, and then there's like subsidiary buildings. So let's try to get close to the main building first, and then we'll continue. This seems like these stairs are a way to go inside somehow. So in front of the temple you can find two power spots. So one is this stone here that's said to be a very high power spot, and then the other one is this star mandala where you stand with your hands stretched right in front of the temple. So the idea is you stretch your hands all the way up to the sky and you look up, so you're technically looking up to the deities enshrined inside the temple, and you kind of like connected with the higher energy. So I didn't quite feel anything, but you can try if you feel any vibrations also. But anyways, I'm gonna take this path down and start heading back to the train station. Amazing how they set up the benches, and then there are also these nice lanterns so you could enjoy the nice view overlooking the valley. And I guess in the autumn colors it would be much nicer to just chill here. It's quite amazing, really nice scenery. And it looks like if you go straight ahead that way, there's also a cable car to go down, but I'm going down walking. So there's the Neomon gate, and then there'll also be a Yuki shrine on the way. So this was the Yuki Jinja. I think it's the last shrine on the way to the railway station, and it's really cool to have so many different kinds of shrines here. And for the locals, probably they also know more about which kind of deities are enshrined inside. For me, I only knew some of the information, which I also shared. But like for instance, for the Yuki shrine, I don't know which deity is enshrined inside, but seems to be of significance, and mostly they are all kind of correlated. So there's the go to the mountains of the water in the mountain top, water in the valley. So it's the way this has been arranged is quite interesting, and it has been a very fun hike. So here we are exiting from the majestic Neomon gate on the other end of the trail. So you can also enter from here and pay 300 yen here or there. So this is like I did a through hike, so you could do it in either direction, but I prefer to do it this way so that the big temple is at the sort of end, or like highest peak. When you reach the summit, that's when you find it, and then it's all downhill from there, so it's a bit easier. So it was just a personal preference. You could do it the other way around as well, as I mentioned. So there is a train station on the same railway line. You just go to the last station instead of the penultimate one, and you'll get here. And also if you are coming with a car, that's going to be tricky, because then you probably have to do a loop somehow to get back to your car. If you're doing it with public transport, which is very doable for either direction, then you just have to decide ahead of time which direction is going to be your kind of journey. Okay, so with this mythical creature, I guess it's called the Tengu, the one with the long nose that appears in a lot of Japanese folklore. That's your final destination, and that's basically right next to it is the entrance to the Eizen railway line, which marks the end of the entire journey. And I did like about 15k steps, so it's nice and easy. I mean, it's not so bad. About a half a day trip, so as you can see it's now 2 p.m. and maybe within half hour or so you can get back to your hotel, depending on how further deep inside Kyoto you're living at, further downtown or some other district, so you can decide the journey. But I hope you enjoyed a little bit of offbeat exploration. So as I mentioned, and I didn't see any foreigners here, so it was indeed a very offbeat destination. They have few things here and there written in English, but mostly everybody spoke in Japanese, and I asked the instructions and everything in Japanese as well. Okay then, ending the vlog here. Gonna look for the next train out to get back, and I'll see you again in the next episode. If you did enjoy the vlog, be sure to like, share and subscribe. This is the Rustic Wanderer signing off. See you next time.